fans to get in the building from a very early hour this morning. They cut off that interview a little bit quick with Guardy, but one of the things he said post his rape comment was actually that when they were down in that game against Hellraisers, they went quiet. The way they responded was just playing individually, winning their battles, and then the team came back to life. So I asked them if that was going to be an issue today, if FlipSid get out to an early start. He said, not really. We'll be able to recover. And Cobblestone's an interesting start because these guys had a really good group stage match on this.
Yeah. These two teams played, obviously, ended 16-13 in favor of Na'Vi. And I think there was definitely room for FlipSid to take that game as well. And, well, as we've seen, said several times, and it's kind of been a theme of this tournament, it's going to rely on their T side. We've said that pretty much on every map. If it's G player, FlipSid playing, their T side is going to come heavily into play here. And I think it's going to be the same case. They actually did a pretty good job of holding off Na'Vi on their CT side as well in that group stage game, but they have to step it, that one more step up if you want to get away with a win here.
100%. And the CT side has been the side that comes under scrutiny most often for FlipSid because Simple gets, insane opening kills. World Edit has the tendency to do the same on their T side. But in this tournament, their CT's improved, and I think it's World Edit that's the one that's contributed to that. So despite all this hype around Simple, World Edit, to me, has been every bit as instrumental to this team's success. Now, Na'Vi on the other side, this is a reset button for them. Much like Envious in their game this afternoon, this is a full reset because they both had, some woes in the group stages, but they're the experienced team. It's a whole new game in best of threes, and when, it's on the line like it is now, these two teams should rise to the occasion.
Yeah, and well, that's kind of what we've been talking about because we had a really exciting day 1 and 2. We were thinking to ourselves, like, who could have predicted this kind of standing, at the end of it all? But then we kind of looked at the bracket and we're like, oh, it's going to probably be Na'Vi and Envy in the finals again, right?
The sad aspect of that.
Well, I mean, it's kind of weird that we're sad about the fact that it's going to be Na'Vi and Envy in a finals because that's an insane matchup.
It is insane.
Yeah, exactly.
But the reason I'm sad is because if it goes to that and it turns out to be what everyone predicted,
yes,
too many people will forget about the faults that they had, and they need to be held accountable. Envious, if they sneak away, let's say Envious win this tournament, let's say Na'Vi win it, okay, they got out of the groups fairly, although it was close. They had some issues. They're aware of that. But if Envy gets out, a lot of people are going to go, oh, they won, so it doesn't matter. Well, they had issues this tournament against teams that should not be giving them issues.
They got through because of other teams.
Right, and if this was one tournament where they had the issues, I would say, okay, you're allowed one bad tournament. That's a mulligan. But they've been struggling lately overall, so this just highlights to me how bad it's really become. So in some ways, I mean, maybe they need the loss. Maybe they need the kick to get them motivated. But again, they play this afternoon. Map pool, what do you think? I thought it was interesting. It went to Train, and Simple predicted that. He actually entirely called it that it would be the third map, and he was confident as could be that they would take Na'Vi on it.
Yeah, and, well, the desk talked about it. When we spoke about it, we were kind of figuring Mirage would be that third map instead of Train, so we were a bit surprised to see that. We know that both teams are capable of playing it, but I would have imagined that Na'Vi have a significant upper hand going into this, given how they had a pretty solid performance versus Fnatic and DreamHack, and just in general, they seem to know how to play Train, and they've actually put in some work to it. So map pool-wise, I think it's favoring Na'Vi, and I'm actually, kind of agreeing with what Thread said. I think it's going to be a 2-0 for Na'Vi, even though FlipSid are coming into this as the number 1 seed.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, FlipSid are coming in as the number 1 seed. But it all changes. So we'll get knife round underway, see who's going to start out on that CT side, the coveted CT side, get the early momentum rolling, and that could be a factor in this. Because I personally think this will go 3 maps, the way things have gone this weekend. It's Na'Vi who has the chance to change that, in my opinion. That's Simple. He'll get 1 knife already. It's going to be Na'Vi with a significant lead in this round and potentially the side they want. So we'll see right away how the T side of FlipSid does. And on this map, it actually, much like Mirage, carries them in a lot of ways. And we'll have to see how they can get their CT going when they swap over. If they win the pistol and get a good start, it's actually going to be Na'Vi that's under pressure really early on.
Actually, yeah, as the crowd starts clapping, that's kind of an interesting thing to take notice of as well, because obviously it's a domestic matchup. Ukrainian players galore. Who are the crowd going to really favor? Obviously, we know that Na'Vi have a massive fan base, but FlipSid being kind of the surprise team of the tournament in that sense, the fact that they've come out on top from day 1 and 2, maybe they've picked up a couple of new fans here, and they might have the crowd support as well.
Well, yesterday, interestingly enough, in the Hellraisers game, this crowd, we talked about it being Hellraisers' sort of home venue in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
But Na'Vi is so well adored and so well loved. not only because of their CS.
Na'Vi.
It's right. It's Na'Vi, and you got to remember for Dota, for these guys, they were world champions for a long time. They were the best team for a very long time. Dendi is loved and famed in this country, and because of who they are in other games as well as Counter-Strike, there's just a general admiration for them and huge amount of support. But during that Hellraisers game, when they were down 8-2, the Na'Vi fans were quiet. They were out of it, and there was Hellraiser support. And I found it interesting because once they started coming back, then the fans came back. And I'm one of those people in sports that kind of believes in. Obviously on stage
cheer
they don't hear a lot of it, but always cheer for your team.
Yeah.
Like when they have ear cupping headsets on here and they don't hear everything, but it may not apply as much for like hockey, for example. You're down and out of it in a home game in like the Stanley Cup final. It's like that's demoralizing. Like get the wins and the sails, but
like the actual time when you need the crowd the most, that's kind of when you're down and out.
Aggressive play from Edward to start it off as we do get the first pistol of map 1 of the best of 3 semifinals underway. And Edward's going to go straight underneath the arch. No smoke out, but no sight so far. Flamey does open it up. And FlipSid are actually going to start with a pistol round toward the A site. They're more known for B. It's Na'Vi actually, and keep this in mind when they swap over to their T side, that try and exploit A. And Threat mentioned yesterday how hard the A site is to hold because it's just, you get caught if you go aggressive to get information due to the choke point of danger that connects the 2 midpoints. You either play solo and lose the individual battle and play together and get sandwiched. Guardian's going to fall back as Bondic comes around the corner. World Edit, they're getting a lot closer to the site, so Guardian's going to have to do a job here to take a shot down, and World Edit opens it up already. Guardian popping back out, gets the first. Markelov sneaks in behind. He's going to take down Seized, and he actually gets Flamey before the smoke comes out, and Bondic closes it away. And this is going to be a loud game either way because FlipSid fans making their
presence felt.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure, and well, that looked like a really favorable round for Na'Vi. Simple goes down as the first man, and pretty much instantly Na'Vi are aware of the fact that this is most likely going to be an A push coming in from FlipSid. And the fact that, I think the biggest problem really at that round was the fact that Simple were allowed, or FlipSid were allowed to actually move that close to the A bomb site, as you pointed out, because Guardian got kind of trapped. He has to hit his shots, otherwise he's not going to be able to hold them back, and all of a sudden you're talking about an afterplant position that's not favoring Na'Vi. So pistol rank goes the way of FlipSid here, and you can see picking up all those SMGs just to kind of build on that bank.
And the 1 AK for Simple. That nade though, World Edit, he's down to 8 HP already. Guardian's only on 58, so HP advantage heavily favoring Na'Vi right now. Bondic though, he brings it back, does catch Guardian with the SMG. Just like you say, build the bank, that's the start to it. He's still waiting on the opposing side of mid, and again, A is going to be the place of pressure right now. Aside from Simple, who we saw lurking with that AK, and Seized realizes there's one on the adjacent side of the smoke. He fires through and unfortunately doesn't do a whole lot of damage to Blade, who manages to come back and catch out Zeus. Blade does go down low in the meantime, though. 15 HP left, but 2-man advantage. And they just need to make sure they keep some people alive here. Stay efficient. Losing one's not the end of the world. Losing 2 to 3, that's when things get a little bit hairy moving forward. And Flamey's already got Bondic. That's bombed down, and the rest of the people at the choke point are all low on HP. What a shot as he takes down Simple. That's the AK. And problems now arise for FlipSid as they face a massive problem. Low HP, no access to the site. Flamey eventually does drop. Big kill from World Edit, but this allows the rotations, and Seized has already come back in and taken down World Edit before that bomb even gets in position, so Blade has to go aggressive, catches Edward, swapping to the pistol, and it's just Seized that remains, but only 2 up for Na'Vi, and Seized tries to get to the AK, he can't pull it out in time, and Seized comes around and takes down Markelov. Massive round for Na'Vi.
Absolutely massive, and there's something about the CIS region plus that Deagle. I don't know how Flamey does it, but those 2 frags right there, absolutely soul-crushing for FlipSid. Completely halts their push. They don't get control over the bomb site. As you said, the rotation comes in from Na'Vi, and with the amount of damage they took from being around the middle, that was not the hardest retakes really for Na'Vi. Even though it's a 2v1 situation, he only needs to get a couple of clicks with a Glock onto them, or with a 5.7. That was just really impressive from Na'Vi.
And it's going to be interesting to see how FlipSid responds to something like this. Nice nade, sends the body sky high. Wants to be an astronaut, Blade, when he grows up. But either way, FlipSid winning the pistol, this gives them the start we talked about, that momentum. And they're a team that when things are rolling well, they're very positive and they play with confidence, but it's so quick to turn that against them. So now the pressure's on to respond. Nice shot by Simple on Flamey, but Zeus is there to get the trade.
And again, the Deagle's coming out. Guardian's going to get the frag onto Markelov, and well, the 2 remaining members getting tied up pretty heavily, but nobody goes down to Zeus. So still 2 alive for FlipSid. But there's not really that much of a hope of actually getting a bomb down here. You can see Bondic moving about towards that A bomb site. Probably going to try to create a diversion, but World Edit's already been spotted out.
Guardian takes him down before he even had the flank come in behind. So Bondic, 10 HP, a pistol. What can he salvage? Potentially knock some guns out of the hands of Na'Vi. Seas may not allow that to happen.
Yeah, so not the most costly anti-eco for Na'Vi. Not a perfect eco either. But they're going to be okay with it. They still have opportunity to build up a bit of a bank. But as I say that, FlipSid are going to go for the Force Spy. And this is a big risk for FlipSid because we know that their biggest strength on this map is their T side. If they lose this round, that's potentially 2 more rounds for Na'Vi without too much effort.
That's why this eco really makes a difference for Na'Vi. I mean, if this comes down to the wire, that eco is going to be what wins Na'Vi the game.
Oh, yeah.
Simple tries to fire through the smoke. As it was Edward again heading in toward that arch. I've been referring to it as the Olaf spot. He tends to go there. He was the one that sort of first crafted that position. It's often Molotov'd out because it is more known now, but Edward's taking advantage of it early before the economy works against him. The flip side, they're definitely slowing it down. Simple, no weapon, the rest all with rifles. I shouldn't say no weapon, deagle, but not a rifle, nonetheless.
Yeah.
And they're trying to go for the boost, actually, against drop side to try and get Flamey up, so he can actually spot through right now. He realizes Markelov's spamming. So if he can find the angle or wait for the smoke to dissolve, he's going to have the angle to take down Markelov, but he actually takes a massive amount of damage. I think that was actually off a ricochet as he goes on to 9 HP and has to fall back.
Yeah, and you can see the fakes being set up towards A-long and mid here. Already managed to rotate 4 people from Na'Vi over towards that A bomb site, and that leaves Edward completely alone with 9 HP.
Bondic who does get down the drop, and it's Edward who pays the price for it. And they force the rotation back over to A just by smoking off the choke point. And that's going to give FlipSid the site to work with. Seas will try and take it back as he gets Bondic. The bomb is getting in position now, but there's no smokes to cover off the exit from Blade once it's in position. And with Seas catching Simple, he's going to get Blade before safety arrives. And it's, oh, what a round. Guardian's now got World Edit. He's going to find Markelov so quickly. What a retake from Na'Vi. And again, those smokes, they couldn't get anyone into a safe post-plant position.
Yeah, and I was about to lay in on Na'Vi as... You know, it shouldn't be a possibility because normally Zeus is really good at reading the game, but they basically had a rotation of 4 men towards A from 1 smoke. That should never happen. That should never be the case. You didn't really have any big indication of that. Now, the flip side wanted to go towards that A bomb site.
Not to mention, the interesting part of that is they had the boost at drop, and they spotted 2 guys. They spotted Markelov, and then Zeus fell down, and yet they rotated away. So I don't know if they, just because there was nothing at the choke point at B, they thought it was going to be a fake, but... That was big. First gun and an eco.
Yeah, and the big thing, obviously, is that retake and C's picking up those 2 frags really early on just made the retake happen for Na'Vi. So you can't really fault them in the end, but they can't really afford to over-rotate because they can so easily get punished.
On the flip side, this is not at all the start they wanted.
The benefit for them, though, is that they did get the bomb plant down with the fake they did at the previous round, so they should be able to buy up now.
And they will.
Yeah, and now we're most likely going to see an off.
Yep, Simple, 5400. Now that...
Actually, this is something that happens quite often. You're going to see Simple and World Edit not buy up instantly because they're having a talk with each other.
And they go double. They go double. That's why they're having the talk with each other.
This is absolutely massive. If this doesn't work for FlipSid, what are they going to do? They're probably going to have to ace out the remainder of the TF.
This is a must-win. And already Guardian finds World Edit. So 1 op down, that's a big investment.
Yeah,
this is huge. This is, I mean, you already lost the eco, you've already lost first gun, and now you're going to go absolutely big into this round. It's basically a Hail Mary. And they're confident. They're known for this. Simple's the one who would make the decision if he wants to bring it out or not. And obviously, they had the discussion, and they went that direction, and that's why, because Simple finds Guardian, brings it right back, and now the op is off Na'Vi's side. There's still a lot of positions. Rifles can be effective on Cobblestone, and Seized, he shows that off as he finds Blade.
And FlipSid slowly moving their way towards that A bomb site. The bomb's still down, so they haven't really committed to anything at all. It's just Bondic kind of lurking about towards A-halls here. And Simple posted up in mid.
And Seized again using the smoke to his advantage, but Bondic wins the exchange, sliding it back out, and it's a 3-3 situation with a split-up defense. So if they act quickly, if they can catch Flamey off on the backside of this site, smoke off the choke points, with the very scarce scarce amount of utilities left that they have, they might be able to get to the site quick enough, and that's what they're going to do is Bondic, he gets the nade on Flamey. Zeus has the position to catch them on the cross, but Simple again, there's the op, it comes back into play. Now keep in mind the first op they drop is a long way away from where they are in the round right now, so because Edward is falling back into a safe position, they shouldn't hunt Edward, they should go pick up that op.
Yeah, if they want to continue with the double op setup, that's not necessarily what they'd like to do, because it does hamper your mobility by quite a bit, and from the looks of it, Simple is doing an alright job by himself finding opening frags. So I'm not sure if I'm FlipSid, I want to go back to a double op setup, because it's extremely costly to do so.
And they're not even going to chase. They know how fragile the economy is. Bondic and Simple will work out together toward
Mark just hanging back just to make safe that Edward's not lurking around. And yeah, solid comeback in that round from FlipSid. That really looked horrible. And I definitely think Cease should have had the frag onto Bondic in side halts there. But, you know, sometimes I guess the instincts get the better of you. And you just end up in a weird situation where you just kind of can't lift that mouse one button.
So it'll be single op, like you said. Go get it if they made that decision. They obviously elect to keep the AK. So stick with the investment that you plan on making. No sense rebuying an AK if they aren't going to use the second op. And it's going to be a fast push right now from Simple, and he has, again, the op to work with. So this choke point's going to be under pressure, but Markelov's already got down drop. Bondic finds Edward, and Flamey, as he turns back to recover the position, gets shot in the back by Blade, who now has position to put the bomb down. And the rotations from Na'Vi aren't even going to happen. Seized, Guardian, they're going to run away and hide and keep their weaponry.
Yeah, they know that 3 remaining members, they're going to have to eco anyway next round, so might as well stick to the weapons. Likelihood of FlipSid going on an aggressive hunt after them isn't that likely, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw Na'Vi saving both weapons here. But again, there we saw the kind of the trademark thing that we expect to see from FlipSid, that quick B aggression that they're so good at. This is what I hope we're going to see from them for, well, pretty much the remainder of the D half, because they need to pick up rounds in a hurry. And FlipSid just going to opt for the safe move and not really hunt, just start building up that economy, because they know it's going to be really expensive to try to keep that op up on either Simple or World Edit throughout the first half.
So FlipSid, again, they're playing from behind in a lot of ways, but they have done well. That double op could have cost them dearly and put this well out of reach, but they bring it back. Hats off to them in doing so. Hats off to Simple in finding the picks in that round. Now Guardian has his op up again, can't hit the first shot, so nearly does. And Edward, meanwhile, and Zeus have exchanged in battle elsewhere on the map and have lost a little bit of HP, so FlipSid do have a bit of an advantage to start things off. And again, they're lurking toward this A off the start, which is a bit more surprising than what we normally see from FlipSid.
Yeah, especially after having so much success with that quick B push down drop room. Basically,
that is one point to make. They have been winning the drop battle, and that's it doesn't win you the B side alone, but if you have that to pull the defenders toward that direction, it makes the choke point much easier to control.
Yeah, and especially when you're actually executing it well, because you can see there, the second flame we went to get those return frags in drop room, they had people out towards A and that B long to help out the guys from coming in from drop room for FlipSid. So,
and Na'Vi are playing a close support defense system where they'd have a double drop setup type of one guy directly in the drop and then the second guy immediately outside by the tree who turns back. That puts more pressure on the single individual that's covering the choke point. So when drop is lost, it's a nightmare. You essentially go into one defender on the site. The Zeus is going to get Molotov'd out, so again they aren't going to be able to control this, and Markelov's already down, but Zeus saw that one coming.
Yeah, and that's actually going to peter away that what looked like it might be a bit of an A-split, because you can see the bomb is working its way out long here.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're going toward the A side, if you can control drop and cut off the rotations, it makes things a lot. I mean, it's a perfect lurk position, but Seized again will catch Blade. Simple does find Guardian, so opt down on the back of the site, but Bondic, he knows there's one to the right, can't even get there because Zeus catches him on the way, and Edward now will catch Simple, and Na'Vi, they answer back.
Yeah, and Edward does find that op as well from Simple, so he's going to drop that off to Guardian. And, well, in a sense, a fairly cost-effective round for Na'Vi. They don't lose that op. They get a free AK as well on Seized. It's not too shabby. And obviously this is a big round because FlipSid have made it really clear that they want to have an op on their team at any given time. So they're going to spend a lot of money every time a lot of people die. And if they lose this one without getting a bomb plant, that's back to eco, and all of a sudden Na'Vi could be looking at 7 rounds. And this is a very different picture from what we saw in the first group stage game.
And FlipSid need to keep this half dead even.
Yeah.
If they can't get to 9 rounds, they need minimum, I think, 7.
And I'm surprised that they keep going towards that A bomb site. It's really surprising to me. Like right now we have 2 people working their way up long halts and one guy posted up defensively towards mid, just holding people off. That's Blade. It's only Simple, really.
He's going to catch Bondic. He's aware that he's being pushed from Blade, but he jumps through. They trade it. Guardian, nice shot. Simple down. Bomb dropped and the op on the ground. And he's going to cover the angle that will allow them not to re-grab that gun, although he is flashed into the corner.
That's a really awkward position to have with an op. He does have help, though, from Suze, so I guess Suze could be kind of the sacrificial guy to take the initial fight and have Guardian pop out.
37 seconds, less than that now, and they're heading over toward B, so this will be a commitment to try and get the bomb site in their control. And right now, they've got Zeus pushed so far up, they're going to have to do it with 2 men because World Edit's committed, and he's going to get caught by Flamey.
That's
so in goes Blade. Molotov's out the, again, all-off spot, the archway, where Edward has been playing, but because of the situation, he's already gone. He's actually favoring an early rotation, but he hasn't gone away from the site. That's the crucial point. Because they won the exchange on the other side, no need for an over-rotation.
Yeah, and again, FlipSid kind of gets stuck when they try to move towards that A bomb site. And I'd like to see them go more towards B. It's been working out pretty well. They've been getting into drop room. From there on out, you can do a lot if you're on the T side. So next buy round, I want to see FlipSid go towards B. Right now, it's pretty clean eco, a couple of P250s, and obviously the deagle on Simple, because why not?
Simple. He wants to be the one to take the aggressive peek as well, but Edward's waiting at a more passive angle this time. And he gets him down easily with the M4. Smoke from Seized, controlling long. Bombs dropped inside the B tunnels. 4 players surrounding it, so they will try and collect this. If they could get a bomb plant down, this would be big to try and get their money going again, because again, we saw them want to go to those ops to open up positions. Well, they need the money to do that. So bomb plants are big in these situations.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that they're taking it this slow when they don't have any Kevlar, any nades, or anything like that. Because just taking a straight-up fight versus a bunch of weapons, that's going to be really tough.
Flamey, good recovery, very nearly went down as he switched away from the M4 without bullets. Does eventually drop to World Edit, but Zeus is right there to get the trade and had control of the bomb the whole time. So FlipSid again, I mean, this is still a really tight position for them. And Simple, he can't afford it, so there's no thought to be had. He's going to have to go for the AK.
I guess they could swap around with him and World Edit. That is a possibility.
And a bomb plant there would have given him a position to go glass cannon.
Oh, yeah, it definitely would. But if they're going to play it that slowly when they don't have anything really to get towards the site with, I think you kind of have to play it a lot quicker. Or at least go as a group when you're actually committing to a site. Fairly aggressive setup from Navi out in A-halls here. Nobody actually covering mid, which is new for them. They might actually get caught out guard here, because there's one FlipSid member working his way up the stairs here towards alley.
Good Guardian's position, winning that against Blade's massive. He goes down, and Seized would have been trapped at long and pinched on, because World Edit is waiting on the adjacent side with the op, and World Edit might get lucky as they push into him, and Guardian a little bit over-aggressive, trying to get a read on exactly what the offense are up to. Again, we see Edward in that position, by the way, so pretty standard. They do have a Molotov to clear it out, but they're going to go for drop. Bondic goes for the silent fall onto the pallets. He has to come around the corner, but Flamey, he wins the battle with the AK, or excuse me, the M4 against the AK.
That must have been a missed flash, because the only thing that flashed was Bondic.
And Simple, he comes out unaware that Edward was still waiting in the corner. That's going to be frustrating for him as Markelov comes back big with 2, and then World Edit up close, catches Zeus. This brings it back to a one-on-one as he goes down. Markelov, 28 HP, seized on full.
Bomb is dropped, though.
And the bomb is dropped. There's 16 seconds, and there's fire in the way of Markelov, and on 15 HP, he dare not try and even go near it. So he has to wait for that to disappear. Now he's got a flash to slow him down. 9 seconds, and Seized is just running. There's no way he can win this unless he takes the fight, and Markelov has to die before time expires. With 3 seconds, he's got to be careful how far he commits to the chase, because if he gets turned back on by Seized, this would be huge.
I was starting to get worried with what Seized was doing, because it looked like he wanted to stick around and actually take that fight as Markelov turns the corner. Thinks the better of it and actually just runs away when he realizes there's no way Markelov can actually get back to the site and plant. And yeah, that obviously leaves FlipSid in a very awkward situation. Markelov, sure, he's going to get to keep his AK, but he's not going to be able to buy anything in the next round when the rest of his team is buying up. So now you're going to have 2 kind of handicapped buys coming out from FlipSid, and that's not the situation they need.
Well, I mean, this has been the story of the half for them entirely. Again, that eco started off, second gun, they lose those, you're 100% on the back foot the entire half. And they've never been able to really bring it back in their favor. They came close, 1 round away from breaking the bank and never did. Bondic's going to find Zeus at least. So again, they win drop with only pistols, but Flamey holds true. He finds Bondic, and this time he's playing more of a support role out toward the choke point, counting on the fact that the pistols might push that direction. And again, that bomb is in the hands of Na'Vi. They can completely see that down in front of them. This time they do Molotov the corner, but Flamey catches World Edit as he slides back out. Flamey makes no mistake on Markelov either.
Yeah, and once again, FlipSid are taking it super slow when they don't really have any weaponry to work with at all. So, a bit of weird decision-making for FlipSid, in my opinion. I think they definitely should be either more grouped up or just play it faster when they don't have anything to work with. But now they do finally have ops, and they actually upped for the double up setup once again.
And full utilities this time to go with it. World Edit doesn't have head armor.
This is a big round.
It may make a bit of difference that he doesn't. Nades go in. Look at how much utilities they're using to control that choke point. Blade, though, he dodges most of it, only goes to 60 HP, and Edward, assuming that many nades would push them far back, gets caught off by his position. And Guardian spots them in behind as he gets boosted up on drop, realizing they're going back to A, though. That's the big thing. He now has this information, but Na'Vi need to be careful not to over-rotate because they're not necessarily committed to that position yet. FlipSid likewise may not have realized that Guardian spotted them, though, so...
Oh, they must have heard the shot, and I think Navi's doing a wise move right now and not overcommitting towards that A-bomb site. If Guardian can... Actually, I would have liked to see Guardian play aggressive, and it seems like that's what he's about to do, because he can get so much information from this. There you go. First guy drops, and I think he spotted the bomb as well. So this should be a big tell for Na'Vi, and you can see the two others rotating over towards A.
And this is a big win in that exchange alone because it brings it back to a slightly more probable situation in terms of manpower. But Simple, he takes down Zeus, leaves only Guardian and Flamey left. You're right, though. They have made the right rotation. As Flamey's on the back of the site, and Guardian's not going to go quietly. He catches Markelov. He catches Simple. Unfortunately, there was 3 there, so Bondik does get him back, but it's still going to be Flamey on the site who has control of World Edit. Bondik has the bomb, but he's only got 16 seconds to work with, and a whole lot less HP with Flamey. What a shot.
Wow, and that round is all Guardian. And I guess Sue's partly as well if he's the one calling the rotations there. But Guardian going aggressive there in A halt, finding that one pick, spotting out the bomb, and then getting the rotation in. That just made everything work for them. And obviously, great shots from Guardian down in mid there as well.
And the crowd realize how much this round means. I mean, this has been... It's 10-3, but this has been a closely contested half. It's just been a few kills here and there for Na'Vi that have made the difference money-wise and given them the rounds. It very easily could have gone back FlipSid's way if they had money to work with more commonly. And it's so disappointing and frustrating from FlipSid's perspective to know that they've been that close in so many situations and they're not going their way. And Simple, again, he's going to get burned alive.
So similar start to what was on the pistol round, actually, but this time around, Guardian's going to follow it up with a frag towards A. 2 frags, actually. Guardian.
Talk about rising to the occasion. He said in the pregame, if Simple gets an op, I just have to counter him out. I'm the guy that has to step up, and so far he's taking out more than just Simple. As they have a massive man advantage again in this round, and Guardian will find another on Markelov. Blade did sneak by in the smoke, but Seized was there. Yeah, he'll seize the day.
Guardian can do no wrong at this point, it seems like. And FlipSid, I'm just baffled by the fact that they've attempted to go towards B so few times. Because that's been the recipe for success.
I mean, it could be something that they have a reading. Exactly, but maybe it's something against Na'Vi that they like about it. And even yesterday in the game, they went toward B more than they have in this one.
So exactly. I mean, maybe they're, I guess, mind-gaming themselves, thinking that Na'Vi have watched that game and figured out a
or vice versa. They've watched demos and thought they spotted something, some weakness, but they're basically taking the fight directly to Guardian. And right now, that is not working out in any stretch, way, or form. Seized, he gets flashed back, but again, it's Markelov who took the worst of the exchange, and Guardian, although he's flashed, he finds Bondik. He may find more. Markelov has got seized in the end, but World Edit gets back into Flamey, so Guardian's in a tight position, but he has Edward who's rotated over, and Zeus is going to get a kill as well. It's all down to one lowly player remaining for FlipSid, and Blade can do nothing. 12-3. That's incredible. That scoreline is a magical scoreline right now for Na'Vi.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about some games, you know, in Counter-Strike, you always have a shot at making it back, but knowing how good Navi's T side is as well, and how lackluster FlipSid's CT side can be, I mean, surely Na'Vi has to feel like this is, it's impossible to lose from this point on.
Well, I would never say impossible when, you know, domestic battles and the way FlipSid have the tendency to just get rounds and work them together, but again, it's normally the T side that makes them come back. You go back to that eco. The first gun round.
And the Force Spy.
Force Spy was another one that was questionable, but the double op, they did win it. They gave themselves at least a chance in the circumstances, but Na'Vi at every moment just slightly had the upper hand. Again, even that round when they rotated away too early from the site from B, and then they had the 4-man retake, they won up. They really did. They won up Flipside in just about every circumstance they could possibly find themselves in, and hence the scoreline.
Yeah, and to be fair to Flipside, it's not really a 12-3 half. And you kind of alluded to that earlier on. It's been just a couple of kills here and there that's been the big game changer. And obviously Flipside getting screwed over money-wise at the worst possible times, that's not going to be a good thing to go into on this T side when you're so in need of rounds as well. And look at this. This is a quick split from Na'Vi.
And they're going to go toward A now that they have control of drop. Try and contain the rotations, and they're going to do exactly that. World Edit does go down to Flamey, and that leaves only Bondic. And this is going to put it definitely out of reach. Bondic will come around and do what he can, but unfortunately, it's not very much.
Yeah, and that was a super fast Na'Vi push. 2 guys with a bomb through middle, up a slope, and then you had 3 guys down into drop room. And kind of funnily enough, that was the 2 places where Flipside had nobody around. So that worked out pretty nicely for Na'Vi. And now, well, they're in the driver's seat, and it's going to be hard for them to lose from this point on. Honestly, if they lose this from here on out, this is all on Na'Vi.
100%. And Edward, he does get World Edit. He doesn't have a rifle to work with. It's been his rifling, not even so much his opping on the CT side that's been impressive this weekend. And now it's going to be Zeus and Edward again who will contribute. Zeus will catch Markelov again. 1 man remaining. It's simple. Does have a deagle. We'll see if he can at least pull something fancy, something highlight worthy off to get guns out of the hands of Na'Vi, because that's all he can really hope for at this point.
Yeah, and Simple has gone for Deagle Light Kevlar, so he spent pretty much everything he had on this round. And he's only going to get away with 1 kill. So not like upcoming round, you're pretty much allowing Na'Vi to get to match point here. But I guess if you're in the situation that Flipside find themselves, that's really the only option you can go for, because the likelihood of you winning a force by eco on a map like Cobble, very unlikely. So as bad as it feels, as bitter of a taste it leaves in your mouth, you kind of have to do what Flipside are doing now if you want to have a shot at it. And you could just kind of have to bank or go into overtime.
And even that's a stretch. In the situation, Na'Vi have played almost to perfection in this game in so many ways. And Edward again will find World Edit's head creeping around on the backside of the statue. Sees walks in. That bomb has been dropped inside the tunnels intentionally. And it won't even matter when they line it up. They make it even easier.
Line them up.
So match point already, but like you said, they went for the eco round, forcing themselves to be disciplined to give themselves at least somewhat of a hope.
Yeah, but the problem again is that obviously with the way things turned out, you're not going to get a great buy in your first buy round. You can see the nades are very scarce throughout all the Flipside, and if Na'Vi realizes this, they can kind of just decide to force Flipside's hand and basically bait out as many nades as possible before they actually commit to a site. And then it's on Flipside to actually hold it off.
And a prayer from God to help them do that, and even a call from God to get back into this game. And it does start with Markelov getting Edward well, and it's World Edit, interestingly, that's holding this choke point, because Markelov, when they first started playing this map, when it was first brought back into the pool, that was holding this position, but World Edit, he's doing well this time. He will find seized. He needs to be aware that Flamey's pushed up into the corner, and it seems as though they are, because they've got damage into him coming from Markelov. But they've rotated very aggressively toward B, and there's still a chance they could fall back toward A. Not with very many men alive, though, and Guardian's actually going to go scout that out. It's the Canadian version of going to check out a site.
Na'Vi that round, kind of surprised actually that they decided to go so aggressive towards the B-bomb side. They could have definitely taken their time, and that would have been, I guess, more to the way Na'Vi normally plays. Just taking their time figuring out what's going on around them and what kind of weaponry Flipside actually has before they commit to something.
This is big. This is big because Guardian got in that site. They did rotate away from it. Now he just has to control the choke points. He alone could have won that round. Flamey now the only one left, 10 HP. And Flipside losing a lot of men trying to just take over these 2 players. And that lurk from Guardian almost won them the map right there, but it's 15-4. Flipside survive.
Survive for now, but they lose a lot of men. Only 2 guys surviving, and that's fairly evident in what kind of buy they're going to get out of this. Again, very low on nades. And again, this is something Na'Vi should realize, so I wouldn't be too surprised if they actually take their time this time around, bait out as many smokes towards B as they can, and then do the exact same thing with having Edward and Flamey kind of move out towards that B plateau.
And again, lots of utilities, as always, spent on that connection point, and World Edit again gets aggressive, catches Edward. So he's rising to the occasion again on this CT side for them.
Yeah, and again, I think it's a weird move by Na'Vi trying to get up that quickly. Now they're just one man down, and it seems like they've just completely changed their mind. They want to go towards A here.
Blade needs to be careful. They do have Simple waiting and silently hiding in the back of the site, as we saw behind the barrels and can see on the opposing side of the map once that goes down. But Blade needs to be very careful about how quickly he comes back toward the site, because they're going to have that smoked off. This is going to have a lot of pressure on Simple.
Well, he's in a really good position, though, to get a lot of things done.
And with Guardian already finding Blade, that means the other rotations are even further away, and they're already looking toward that Preacher spot, so there will be no one that gets up there quite easily, and Zeus finds Simple. That's massive. That was their last hope, although they have got Markelov closer to the site. Seized finds him at the back of the APC, and it has to be a solid retake right now from FlipSide. Guardian finds Bondic. It's down to World Edit, 1-on-2. Bomb still not planted, but in the hands of Seized. World Edit drops inside the site. He's fully committed. They line it up, but Flamey over the shoulder. He'll get the shot, and it's going to be 16-4 in the first map. What a performance, Na'Vi, because this is normally close on this map.
It normally is, but this was Na'Vi just dominating on their CT side. Guardian doing Guardian things, and for once, actually, for the first time in this tournament, Simple was not to be found.
What? To be fair, I agree with you. But the thing with Simple in this tournament is there was the game yesterday when he had 2 4Ks on Inferno in the morning, the upset actually.
Yeah.
Against Envious, and the 2 rounds that he had the op, he got 8 kills. And other than that, in the other 5 or 6 rounds, he had 3. So the key was give him the op. That's where he's getting most of his space. Now, not to take away from his AK, because he's normally decent with that as well. But they limited the economy in this game. The round when they did go to the double op, he did find 2 kills, brought them back in. They won that round. But again, when he didn't have the op out, they didn't have anything. He didn't have an answer, and that could be key. If Na'Vi can control that the whole game like they did there, or if FlipSide get ecoed or don't win these pistols, I mean, they have to address that. It's the start and the money that really gives FlipSide a chance.
Yeah. For me, the biggest split of or what kind of set the tone really the wrong way for FlipSide was that force buy where they end up buying. Obviously they won pistol, lose anti-eco, and then do the force buy eventually, where they have 2 Galils, 3 AKs, instead of just taking another eco, getting that op on potentially both World Edit and Simple, but at least Simple, so you can start working from there. And also, as we kind of alluded to the entire game, the fact that they didn't go that much towards the B bomb site, which it seemed like they had a pretty good grasp on how to take. We saw that really quick round from them where they had 2 people drop down drop room, while I think it was Bondic who's coming around up from B long.